Hi everyone, this is my second video in the series on how responsible government works. Sorry for being missing in action over the last few weeks, but between the Olympics, Paralympics, and school, and a little bit of traveling, I haven't had time to post anything. So this one is on this thing we call the Confidence Convention. Now, Confidence Convention is in reality one of the key things if you want to learn about the government of Canada, you need to know. And it's probably the most misunderstood thing, especially in a minority parliament. In essence, it's responsible government. It's how responsible government follows through. So the government is responsible for the people, as we learned in the last video. Now, it's responsible to the people through the House of Commons. The House of Commons' role is to hold the government to account. The Confidence Convention is how we do that. Now, there are really four types of votes of confidence. A vote of confidence is a matter which the government will either win or lose, and can either support meaning the government has the support of the House of Commons or doesn't. The first and probably the most famous is a budget. This, as you and I need money to function, so does the government. If the House of Commons basically cuts in half the government's credit card, or freezes, say you can't take money out of the bank account, government, by defeating the budget, then the government falls. The government must either resign, call an election, or figure out how to get the confidence of the House of Commons back. The second type is the address to reply from the speech from the throne. We all seen pictures of the speech from the throne, where the Governor General goes to the Senate chamber, reads a speech which the government writes, and then the House of Commons go back to their chamber and talk. Right after they go back to the chamber, there's some formalities. They have to introduce a bill called Bill 1, which is a dummy bill. But then they get down to work, and the first real piece of action that the government does is a motion thanking the Governor General for the speech from the throne. This motion is usually about a paragraph long, and it simply says, "Thank you, Your Excellency, for giving the speech from the throne." There is always an amendment from the motion expressing non-confidence in the government, usually very, very abruptly, and a sub-amendment. The amendment is offered by the opposition. The sub-amendment is offered by the third party. If either the amendment or the sub-amendment succeeds, or the government is, or the motion to say that we no longer have or the address and reply fails, then the government no longer has the confidence of the House of Commons. It must either resign, gain the confidence, or call an election. The third type is the explicit type. This is what got Paul Martin down. Stephen Harper, plain and simply, when he was leader of the opposition, introduced a motion saying we no longer have the confidence in the government. It seceded, government resigned. The government called an election, and Mr. Harper won. The fourth type is any piece of legislation which the government deems to be a motion of confidence. These are usually key but controversial pieces of legislation which the government says to the opposition, don't test us on because we will bet the house on it. These are usually things, but not necessarily things mentioned in the throne speech. and they're usually matters of criminal justice, matters of regulation, or matters of foreign affairs. The House of Commons is the only House of Parliament which is a confidence keeper. If one of these motions fails in the Senate, it's not a matter of confidence. The government has not lost the confidence of the House. Now, there's a few variations on it. When the Governor General is asking someone to be the Prime Minister, they must always ask the party which is likely to gain the confidence of the House and retain the confidence of the House. There's a few hypothetical situations where this is possible. The most likely hypothetical situation is if the government, if there was, say, a third party, another conservative party, such as the Reform, and they were popular. So there are about 75 seats in Quebec. So with the 75 seats in Quebec, you say that the Bloc Quebec wins all of them, which leaves about 232 seats left. And say this second conservative party, say likely a lot like the Reform Party, and the Conservatives and the Liberals and the NDPs more or less split them. And somehow the Bloc managed to get ahead and be the one with the most seats. It is very unlikely that the Blocs would maintain the confidence of the House for long. So what I think would probably happen is the Governor General would ask a leader of another party, which would be most likely to retain the confidence of the people, confidence of the House of Commons, to form a government. I don't imagine the Bloc would form a government. There's two other very interesting elements of this, which I'll talk about, and they're related, and that is that the Prime Minister, in order to maintain the right to govern, must respect Parliament enough to let it meet. And I'm not talking about purgation here. I'm talking about a hypothetical situation that probably would never happen, but it could. And that is a government is 3 seats short of a majority. And after the election, they go to the Governor General, says, I think if I had another week, I would be able to win the majority. I want a new election. Parliament's not going to work. I want a new election. The Governor General must refuse the request. Why? Because in order for a democracy to mean anything, Parliament must have the right to meet, or must meet. The other hypothetical situation would be another situation, not even hypothetical, is if the government's defeated on the address and reply for the speech from the throne. So the government's defeated, and there's a viable alternative to the government. The Governor General must seek whether that viable alternative is able to form a government. This happened in Ontario in 1985. Frank Miller did not had a minority government. The Liberals and the NDP defeated the address and reply for the speech from the throne and were able to form a government, coalition government. It lasted a few years, then was defeated. But that's one of the other situations. So that's it on this part of the Confidence Convention. The next one's on some current issues with responsible government, and then I'm probably going to be doing something on parliamentary privilege. So thank you. I hope you enjoy, and the next one should be on soon.